Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. In this episode, we're going to be discussing energetic cords and how understanding their nature can greatly improve your energetic hygiene and also your relationship to yourself. I'm your host, Mika, and you are listening to Practical Alignment. Yes, hello. My name is Mika, and I am an energy work practitioner. And in my energy work sessions, I assist my clients in realigning their energy with their authentic nature, and I help them connect to their own inner healer. There are a handful of energetic concepts and tools that we use together to support this process within our sessions. And so I thought that it would be a good idea to create somewhat of a series to describe these concepts that are used in my sessions to serve as a footnote. And I think doing this will not only allow sessions to become more cohesive and deep, but this is just great information that I wish that I had earlier on in my journey. So naturally, I want to talk about it. And as always, I'm going to be sharing my current beliefs and understandings towards this topic. So please only take in what resonates with you and gently toss aside what doesn't. In my previous episodes, I've stressed the importance of energetic hygiene, and a good episode to preface this one is number 48, Authentic and Inauthentic Energies, where we discuss how maintaining other people's energy in your aura interferes with you being able to express your own unique essence to its fullest potential. Your authenticity is your own special fuel that guides and inspires only you to follow your own natural and distinctive path. Seeing other people living in their authentic energy and in their authentic power can be inspiring, but their specific energy should only stay in their field. And same goes for you. Your authentic energy should only be in your own space. How do energetic cords come into play with expressing your own authenticity? Well, we should first break down what energetic cords are to explain that. So, a cord is an energetic structure between two people or entities in which data or information gets thrown back and forth. Energetic cords are a type of enmeshment when your energy, emotions, and intentions get intermixed with another's. And cords represent your agreement with someone else to have each other's energies engaged in each other's lives in some manner. Cords are a structure that connect your energetic field to another's. So naturally, when you're throwing information back and forth, it can be difficult to tell whose energy is whose. It can often feel like you're in a tug of war or like a roller coaster with someone that you have cords with. And you likely have a cord with someone if their moods and emotions greatly impact your own, and vice versa. Also, if you feel like super fixated, hyper aware, or overly concerned with someone else's energy state, it's likely that you have a cord with them. Energetic cords can be found between any form of relationship. So, to any person, place, belief, idea, or even to an object. Anything external to ourselves, we can create a cord with. Some examples of common cords are those between employers and employees, friends, enemies, most definitely frenemies, family members, romantic partners, most definitely ex romantic partners, and even like political or religious groups, or even cults like the Swifties. Just kidding. No, I'm not. Basically, in my opinion, if you have an intense or sometimes even tumultuous relationship with someone or something, you likely have cords with them. The reason that cords can be so tricky is that we can get so tangled with other energies and have multiple cords at a time and get so twisted that we can lose track of being able to express and connect with ourselves. Cords are birthed through collaborating with another's energy field. The book Psychic Psychology defines collaborating with someone as meeting their energy in time and space with energy of your own that matches that frequency. This means that for a cord to be created, a part of your energy must resonate with another's in some capacity. Some examples of matching someone's energy can be through something like mutual desire of wanting to be loved and accepted, or even through feelings of shared concern, judgment, or even resistance. The book Psychic Psychology also says that many cords are created with the best of intentions, and even the ones that are created out of jealousy usually arise from someone's underlying wish to be loved. The way that we create cords with another is when we try and fulfill a need for ourselves outside of ourselves. We all have needs, but when we unconsciously try and get those needs met in sometimes unhealthy ways, we create holes in our energetic field. It's an act of looking beyond ourselves instead of within ourselves that creates this separation. Fragmentation is what's occurring when we feel unable to resource and meet our own needs. And that's because we feel separate from the consciousness and unity that's within all of us. Ideally, in a perfect world, if you were to look at our energy space, our auras would be filled only with our authentic energy. But as life goes, and simply because we're humans, that isn't always the case. And we all have gaps and tears and holes or leaks in our auras from time to time. And these gaps, tears, holes, and leaks are the spaces in your aura that is not currently being filled with your own authentic energy. So it's within these gaps that holds a level of resonance in which what you feel internally about yourself or about life becomes projected externally. Cords can only attach to the spaces in the aura where these gaps exist. So, in other words, cords can only take up residence in the spaces where your own authentic energy and connection to yourself is not being expressed. The nature of energetic cords isn't inherently good or bad. Cords are simply just created as a means to fulfill an initial need. You wouldn't feel the need to attach to something else to fulfill a certain need if that need didn't exist in the first place. So they're kind of just like an indicator of where your needs are. Cords can serve their purpose for a moment in time, and they can be perfectly appropriate for a moment in time. But because our nature is ever changing, they're not a permanent solution, and we do eventually outgrow all of our cords. Having cords with something isn't a permanent, sustainable way to have your needs met. For example, let's say that you were in a terrible ski accident and your well being relied on the trained professional who is rescuing you. And let's say that that rescuer wanted nothing more than to keep you alive. Maybe they really needed to tune into your space and your needs in order to serve you best, or maybe even part of their self worth and fulfillment and even motivation comes from helping or saving other people. So, chances are in that situation, a cord is going to form between the two of you when this rescuing takes place, especially if there is a lot of intensity involved. You are relying on the rescuer for your safety, and they are very invested and maybe even personally invested in getting you better. For a moment in time, that cord formed between the two of you, bonding you together, can be very appropriate if it means that your life is going to be saved. For that moment in time, collaborating with and having each other's energy in each other's space probably is very helpful. But let's say 2 weeks down the line you feel better, that cord is no longer necessary. In normal circumstances, if you both moved on from that traumatic event healthily, the cord would naturally drop away on its own. But let's say that somehow you're still connected. For a cord to be sustained, both parties must contribute to the existence of the cord. So after this incident, let's say that you were so shaken up by what happened that you feel deeply unsafe on Earth, and perhaps you feel like you owe all of your safety and life to the rescuer. And perhaps on the other end of that cord, the rescuer feels like they need you to feel this way in order for them to still feel good about themselves because, like we mentioned earlier, a part of them needs their motivation and self worth from helping other people. So, in different ways, you become reliant on each other. You rely on them for cultivating a sense of safety, and they rely on you for validation. If this was the case and this cord was sustained, you two would be draining each other of vitality and stopping each other from being able to connect to your own life force energy. For a moment in time, that cord connecting the two of you served a great purpose, but you don't want to sustain that connection of needing another person to live or feel okay on this earth. You don't want to rely on that once you become capable of doing it on your own. This is just one example of why cords can form, but like I said, we don't demonize their existence and why they become formed, because there clearly is a need that exists that's asking and dying to be met. A lot of relationships have cords between them simply because both parties have this deep need, this desperate need to connect and to belong and to relate to one another. And that need is so valid. It's just the ways that we go about getting that need fulfilled that can sometimes be a little messy. In many cases, depending on our relationship dynamics, it takes a conscious effort to recognize and then clear the cords that we have with others. Just because we outgrow the need for a cord doesn't necessarily mean that that cord releases or drops away on its own. If we ourselves do not evolve the way that we relate to others and how we try and get our needs met, we will continue to sustain the attachment to one another. You can do all the cord cutting and clearing meditations that you want, but if you don't change internally or reflect on why that need existed in the first place and why that cord formed in the first place, that cord is just going to grow right back. When we outgrow the need for a cord but maintain them in our energetic field, if we don't clear them and if we don't change ourselves and our own dynamics, we remain stuck in the energy of which the cord was created in. Cords carry a level of restriction where the relationships struggle to grow outside of the energy range that was expressed when the cord was first made. They hinder a relationship from being able to flourish and grow beyond the energy that was present when the cord was first formed. For example, in a friendship or a new relationship, a cord can form in the early stages of developing this relationship with another as a means to feel accepted by another person. So let's say both parties are really invested and really want the other person to like them. And so, in this desire and need to be accepted and liked, they might abandon parts of themselves and only have certain aspects of themselves be seen. So, in the future, that relationship will likely struggle to evolve when the two parties encounter conflict, because that cord that's in place that was formed out of self abandonment and priority of each other's approval will get in the way of the two people being able to engage with each other honestly and authentically. This cord is going to limit this relationship from being able to grow through working through differences because it was formed out of self abandonment and people pleasing. So, most likely, what's going to happen because this cord exists is that conflict will be avoided rather than confronted. Another example of how energetic cords can limit relationships is if you picture a new mother who might have a cord with her baby boy, which is perfectly in place when she's first raising that baby boy. But once that baby grows into a man and tries making his own path, if that cord still exists in its same capacity, the mother will never see her son as anything but helpless and will constantly try and control that son's life. A lot of parents have cords with their children that hinder their ability to see the capability that's within the children for them to be able to make their own paths and do their own thing. I like to picture those kids that you see on leashes at the park. When they're young, it might be perfectly suitable and even for their best interests to be on a leash and tied to their parents so that they don't run into the street and hurt themselves. But eventually, that leash has got to go, or else you'll have two fully grown people dragging each other around. Cords freeze dynamics in time, which isn't good long term because it's in our nature to change. Even grounding cords require updating. When we work with grounding cords, we're asked to shed our old cords and re-establish our connection to the earth based on our energy in present time. Each cord that we have has its own essence, and the qualities of the cords that we have depend on the relationships that form them. And I personally think it's really interesting to explore how different chords feel in my space. Some are a lot heavier and denser than others, which in the end just gives me more information about myself and my relationships. I honestly find chords to be such helpful teachers because they point out where in our energetic space we're wounded or lacking in our authenticity. Chords show us where we have gaps in being able to hold ourselves or fill ourselves up with our own energy. They're like a big spotlight on where our beliefs could use a little zhuzhing and updating. To really amplify the effectiveness and deepen the healing work that you do with yourself, don't just cut cords, but learn how to nurture them. Instead of just trying to get rid of cords, listen to what they are showing you about yourself. As we discussed, cords form in a state of separation when you were looking externally for a sense of unity. When you have compassion in that, you can explore where in yourself you felt like you were lacking. Chords present us with this opportunity to find what need you were trying to have met when you first created your chord. And they give you a chance to listen to what you are desperately longing for. And they also present the opportunity for you to learn how to resource and meet your own needs. I was taught by one of my teachers to not just cut cords, but to ask the earth and the elements to nourish my cords and help them feel fulfilled and whole. Collaboration with the earth and elements and with God is a sustainable way to nourish ourselves because when we do that, we're not seeking outside of ourselves, but rather we're working with the energies that want us to be in our highest expression. When we are able to meet ourselves exactly as we are and truly listen to the ways that we are asking for more love, when we find healthy ways to fulfill those needs, we're able to evolve ourselves and how we relate to our relationships. By doing this work and filling your spaces back up with yourself in updated current time, you create new beliefs, new patterns, and completely new possibilities for engaging with life authentically. Alrighty, my friends, that is all I got for this episode on energetic chords. I hope this information was helpful for you, and I hope that it sparked some curiosity for you on this topic in relationship to yourself. If you're interested in exploring energetic chords in session one on one, all the links to be able to do that are listed in the bio or the description. There's also an option on my website to book a free consultation to see if my services align with you and if we're a good fit for one another. I am so grateful that you're here and that you're joining me. I appreciate you so much, and I just want to say I'm so proud of you for showing up for yourself and for doing the work. I'll see you next time. Bye!